Hey, I'm a purple otaku, an otaku of the purple variety, and today we're going to talk about Ender's Game, but more specifically, like the series of books. And here is your spoiler alert. I'm probably going to be giving summaries of all of the books that I've read so far in the Ender's Game series. So, yeah, if you don't want to hear spoilers, then don't watch. Also, I'm probably going to get like really mad and rant because I think I've mentioned it before, but Ender's Game is my all-time favorite book. It is the best book that has ever existed ever in life, and I will fight you on it in the comments. Because I'm not going to go outside and actually fight you. That would take a lot of effort that I'm not prepared for. Anyways, so let's get into it. I first read Ender's Game like 6 years ago or something, and like immediately I fell in love with it. I was like, this is an amazing book. Um it has a few curse words, and like it's really deep and psychological and sad, like so sad. um so if you don't like that kind of stuff, don't read it, but it's great. And why would you deprive yourself of that? It's amazing. So I'm gonna give you a quick summary of it. So basically, Ender's Game, you're supposed to only have two kids. If your kids are real smart, then the government will let you have a third kid, because like Earth's running out of resources, and there's this alien species trying to attack everyone. That's why you're allowed to have a third kid. So if they're real smart, then they'll go into the military. So main character Ender. Sorry, I have to zip this bag. So the main character Ender is a third, and he ends up getting picked to be in the military, and he goes to battle school, which is in space. And like, how do I summarize what happens in battle school? He's the youngest, and there's problems, and then like he makes friends, and then as soon as he makes friends and it looks like everything's gonna be okay, the adults move him. And then there's this guy who picks on him, and he makes friends with this girl named Petra, and then he learns how to like do the like war games. Is that what they're? I can't remember what they're called, but they're in like the battle rooms or whatever. And it's like basically like a simulated war, or like playing like a Nerf gun fight or something with someone, because they have like these rooms and they have these guns, and when the people are wearing the suits, and there's zero gravity, and when the people are wearing the suits, it like freezes them. And so like this girl teaches him how to shoot, and he helps this like army, because they're all like, okay, Ender was 6 when the book started. I think he's like 7 at this point. Um anyways, and like once you're 12, you move on to the next school. So like I don't even think it's 12. It might be like 10. Anyways, so yeah, he helps them win a war, and the guy gets mad because he told him not to shoot, and then like he goes to another army, and he does really bad because he's actually allowed to do things now. But then like stuff happens, and eventually he like gets his own army, and then like they break all the rules to like make him advance faster. It's like they do it so like it's 2 armies against him, and like the other armies have already been in there for like 5 minutes before his army gets to go out, and it's all messed up. And there's all kinds of like stuff where like they break the rules to break, yeah, like the school breaks the rules, and then in the last battle they break the rules. It's really great. And then like Ender doesn't really want to do anything anymore, but they're like sending him to command school, and usually you'd go pre-command school first. And so everyone's like, what's going on? And he's like, him and like a bunch of people get transferred out, and then one of like the youngest kids who were in Ender's army get put in charge of an army, and it's crazy. And then like Ender sees his sister, because remember I said he's a third. He sees his sister on Earth, and the military tells her like, convince him to go back to doing it. So she does. She convinces him, and then he goes back into space, and he finishes his training, and he meets this guy who helped defeat the aliens the first time. And then he's like doing these simulations with his friends now. Now his friends are like he's the commander, and then like they're like mini commanders, like they each are in command of a ship or something, and they're doing like simulations beating the aliens, and then like the aliens are called buggers, by the way. And then like there's one where what do they do? Oh yeah, so there's one where it's like around a planet and all of the like bugger ships are like moving and stuff, and like if they go in they're gonna lose. So, and Bean says something about, hey, it's like the last battle at Battle School. So Ender's like, okay, let's break the rules. Maybe if I make them think I'm crazy, they'll let me go home. So he uses this thing called the MD device, or the Lil Doctor, and it's like a molecular disruptor, and it turns everything to ash. And they'll like hit one molecule and make it fall apart, and then spread to another molecule. So the more stuff closer together, the bigger the explosion. So he hits the planet, exploding all of the like ships around it, and he's like, and then like all the people are like, woo woo woo, and he's like, why are you doing that? I broke the rules. I lost. And they're like, oh yeah, no, by the way, that wasn't a game. That was for realsies. That you really just killed the last of that species. And then he, like, is not okay. I mean, he hadn't been okay leading up to this. And then he, like, sleeps for 3 days while a war happens on Earth because the military isn't really needed anymore. So a lot of people want to make them not in charge anymore. But they're still in charge of, like, making sure no one shoots each other. And then his brother becomes, like, world leader. Where is that later? Happens at some point. And his brother makes it so that he can't go back to Earth, but him and his sister go to live on the old bugger planets to, like, colonize them. So yeah, that's Ender's Game. And I love it, and it's great, and I saw the movie, and it hurt. And, like, I love Ender's Game so much. So it made me mad, the movie. And I understand that you can't have, like, a bunch of 6-year-olds doing all of this, because it is, like, a really, like, psychological book. And, like, Ender actually ends up, like, killing some kids. And I understand that you can't have 6-year-olds doing that. But he made them, like, 12 in the movie. And in the book, at the end of it, Ender's only 12 years old. Oh yeah, one other thing that's kind of important that I forgot to mention. Ender ends up getting, like, a cocoon that has a bugger in it, because the buggers, like, found a way to speak into his mind, because they don't use real language. They speak into each other's minds. And they did that, and they were like, yo, put us on a new planet. And he was like, chill. So yeah, that's Ender's Game. It's the best book ever. I've read it 7 times. 7. And then the next book I read was Ender's Shadow, which there's not really a clear order to, like, any of the Ender's Games books, but there's, like, separate series where, like, they follow different series of events. And Ender's Shadow is a parallel to Ender's Game, and it's, like, the same events of Ender's Game, except for told from Bean, the kid who's the youngest in his army's perspective. And that one's really good, too. And then from there, you go on to Shadow of the Hegemon, which I, like, just finished, like, 3 days ago. And that tells about how his brother became the Hegemon, which is, like, the ruler of the world. But apparently when his brother became Hegemon, it wasn't ruler of the world. And then next in that part of the series is Shadow Puppets, which I don't know what happens in that one because they didn't have it at my library, so I'm not reading that. I skipped to, what is it called? It's over there. Shadow of the Giant. Yeah, Shadow of the Giant. Is the one after Shadow Puppets. And after that, it's like Shadow something else. So, like, all those ones go in order. And then, like, if you don't read that series, I use the term loosely. If you go from Ender's Game to Speaker for the Dead, which I think is the next one that was published, then that one's about, like, spoiler alert, Ender ends up using space travel, going near relativistic speeds to get Like, the books take place 3,000 years later, and he's still, like, maybe 20. So, yeah. And then, so there's another alien race, and it introduces, like, all these new characters. And then, like, he interacts with them. And then he, like, does a thing. And then in Xenocide, they're trying to kill the second species. But, like, that's rude. And I don't know if buggers are on the planet yet at that point. But buggers end up being on the planet in either Xenocide or, what's the one after Xenocide? Children of the Mind. And one of those buggers end up being on the planet. And, like, they're trying to blow up the planet. But, like, that would kill all 3 species. Like, the buggers would be dead. And the other ones, they're called piggies, would be dead. And it would kill all the humans on the planet. So, they stopped that. And then there's, like, some other people on this other planet. And then, like, these other people that are, like, fake versions of old characters. Yeah. And those are all the Ender's Games books I've read so far. And I want to say, for, like, the Speaker of the Dead route, if you go that way after reading Ender's Game, then all of those books are really science fiction-y. Like, they talk about kind of, like, I don't know, like, a science fiction quantum physics, basically. And, like, biology and things like that. So it's kind of hard to wrap your head around sometimes. But, I don't know, it kind of made sense to me, so I get it. But then on the reverse side, if you go with the Shadow series, Shadow of the Hegemon, Shadow of Puppets, or whatever, if you go that way, then all of those books are heavily political. Because it's about, like, I'm pretty sure they're about how, like, Peter the brother, ends up, like, taking over the world. So, it's, like, super science-y or, like, super politics. And those are your options when you're going off of Ender's Game. And I know there's more books. Like, I'm pretty sure there's, like, the Formic Wars or whatever, and Formic is another word for buggers. And I think there's 2 books on that talking about the first 2 bugger wars, because Ender's Game talks about the 3rd bugger war. And then I know there's Ender in Exile, which is about, like, what he does immediately after he's told he can't go back to Earth. And then there's, like, Ender in Battle School or something, which goes more into depth about what happened when he was in Battle School. And yeah, I really like Ender's Game. And something I want to say about Orson Scott Card, the author's writing, is I've noticed, I mean, I haven't read all of them. I haven't read, like, any of his works. Like, I've read one other book by him, other than an Ender's Game book. But it seems to be like, he's like, these characters, there's these 2, they're not in love. They're real close. And then later it's like, they're in love. I'm like, wait, what? And, like, sometimes he'll be like, look at how this relationship grows. Look at how they fall in love with each other. And then other times he's like, they just met, they're in love now. And I'm like, I just don't understand how he handles romance, but that's just me. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, I think it's kind of weird, because, like, sometimes it's like, this makes sense, let's follow it. And sometimes it's like, bam, it's there. And sometimes it's like, no, it's not there. And then, like, a book later, he's like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. So yeah, that's all I think I had to say for now. I'll probably do another one of these once I read more of the books. Or, like, finish all the ones in the Shadow series and then Ender in Exile. So, thank you for watching. You know how YouTube works. I hope you have a great day. I try to answer all of my comments. And thank you for 25 subscribers. I mean, I had 25 and now I have 24. But that's okay. I still like you guys. And I'm sorry about my upload schedule. I've been having, like, Wi-Fi issues and stuff. So, I apologize. I have, like, 3 videos filmed. I just need to, like, upload them and schedule them and stuff. Because otherwise, it'd be, like, 1 every day for a week. And then none for, like, 4 weeks. So, that wouldn't be good. So, yeah, that's all I had to say for this video. Bye!